Hello students, welcome to the class. I hope you all are safe at your home. So let us begin with our class. Today we'll be studying unit number 2, that is biological classification. The name itself says that biological classification. That means classification of all the living organisms that are present on this earth. So let us begin. Since the dawn of civilization, there have been many attempts to classify living organisms. It was done instinctively, not using criteria that were scientific, but born out of a need to use of organism for our own use, for food, for shelter, as well as for clothing. Aristotle was the earliest to attempt a more scientific basis for classification. He used simple morphological characters to classify plants into trees, shrubs, and herbs. He also divided animals into two groups, those which had red blood and those that did not. From time to time, there have been many schemes proposed by various scientists for the classification of organisms present on the earth. Now, we'll see which were the schemes that were presented by different scientists to classify our vast biological entity. The Linnaeus that proposed a two-kingdom classification with the two kingdoms suggested as Kingdom Plantae and Kingdom Animalia were developed and includes all the species of plants and animals respectively in Kingdom Plantae and Kingdom Animalia. This system did not distinguish between eukaryotes and prokaryotes, unicellular and multicellular organisms, photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic organisms. Classification of organisms into plants and animals was easily done and was very easy to understand. But a large number of organisms did not fall in either of the category, that is, they did not fall in either plant kingdom or animal kingdom. Hence, the two kingdom classification used for a long time was found to be adequate in providing sufficient information. Later on, a three kingdom classification was proposed by a scientist named as Carl Moose, which classifies the biological organisms into three kingdoms. First, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Plantae, and Kingdom Animalia. This was also found to be insufficient and was unable to categorize organisms in three kingdoms. Most of the organisms were remaining to be classified. Next, four kingdom classification. This four kingdom classification includes Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Plantae, and Kingdom Animalia. This classification system for living organisms have undergone several changes over time. The plant and animal kingdom have been constant under all different systems. The understanding of what organisms be included under these kingdoms have been changing. The number and the nature of the other kingdoms have also been understood differently by different scientists over the time. Lastly, a five kingdom classification was proposed by R.H. Whitaker. The kingdom defined by him were named as Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Kingdom Animalia. The main criteria for classification used by him include cell structure, body organization, mode of nutrition, reproduction, and phylogenetic relationships. The three-domain system that has been proposed that divides the kingdom Monera into two domains, leaving the remaining eukaryotic kingdom in the third domain and thereby a six-kingdom classification. So this is the classification that was given by Robert Whittaker, that is R.H. Whittaker. This kingdom protista, kingdom Monera was further divided into Archaeobacteria and Eubacteria. Earlier classification system include bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, mosses, ferns, gymnosperms and angiosperms under plant. The character that unified this whole kingdom was that all the organisms included has cell wall. This placed together groups which widely differed in other characteristics. As we all know that the animal cell lacked the cell wall. So on the basis of cell wall, the kingdoms have been classified. It brought together the prokaryotic bacteria and the blue-green algae with other groups which were eukaryotic. It has also grouped together the unicellular organism and multicellular organism. Students, I hope that you are very much aware that what is a prokaryotic cell and what is a eukaryotic cell. Moreover, you must also know that what is the difference between unicellular as well as multicellular organisms. The classification that was given by R.H. Whittaker did not differentiate between the heterotrophic group, that is fungi, and the autotrophic green plants, though they also showed a characteristic difference in their cell wall composition. The fungi had chitin in its cell wall, whereas the green plants are made up of cellulosic cell wall. When such characteristics were considered, the fungi were placed in a separate kingdom called as kingdom fungi. Based on the characteristic feature that is present in its cell wall, they were further classified into a different kingdom that is called as kingdom fungi. All prokaryotic organisms were grouped under the kingdom Monera. These were grouped under the kingdom Monera. All prokaryotic organisms. You may see that prokaryotic. And unicellular eukaryotic organisms were placed in the kingdom Protista. Unicellular eukaryotic organism. Monera, unicellular prokaryotic organisms. Kingdom Protista had brought together Chlamydomonas, Chlorella with Paramecium and Amoeba in the animal kingdom that lack cell wall. It has put together organisms which in earlier classifications were placed in different kingdoms. This happened because the criteria for classification has been changed. Different period of time, different criteria for classifications were considered by the different scientists and different scheme of classifications were proposed. This kind of changes will take place in future too, depending on the improvement in our understanding of characteristics and evolutionary relationship. So in this chapter, we'll study in great detail the five kingdom classification that was proposed by R.H. Whittaker. The kingdom Plantae and Animalia are commonly referred to as plant and animal kingdom. So this is the table on which on the basis of which the kingdoms have been classified by Robert Whittaker and a scheme was proposed, that is five kingdom classification. On the basis of cell type, the difference in each kingdom, complexity of the body, whether it is unicellular or multicellular, presence of nucleus, absence of nucleus, presence or absence of chloroplast, cell wall composition, motility, true tissue, nutrition mode. Based on mode of nutrition, different kingdoms have been classified. Ecological role, whether they are composers, They are producers, they are consumers, they are decomposers. They have been classified as well as on mode of reproduction, sexual or asexual mode of reproduction. These were the criteria that were taken into consideration while classifying the organism into 5 kingdoms. Very important table for your exam. Now we'll talk about kingdom Monera. Kingdom Monera, the bacteria are the sole members of this kingdom Monera. They are the most abundant microorganism. As we already aware that bacteria are present everywhere in our surrounding. They may be present in air, water, soil, everywhere. They are omnipresent. What do you mean by omnipresent? The thing that is present everywhere on the earth, that is called as omnipresent. Bacteria occur almost everywhere. Hundreds of bacteria are present in a handful of soil. They also live in extreme habitats such as hot springs, deserts, snow and deep oceans where very few other life forms can survive. Many of them live in or on other organisms and act as parasites. Bacteria are grouped into 4 categories based on their shape: the spherical coccus, rod-shaped bacillus, coma-shaped vibrio, and spiral-shaped spirillum. Look, this is the round shape, or you can say coccus-shaped cocci. They are present in small round structure. When they are present in 2 together attached, they are called as diplococci. When they are present in 3 together, they are called as triplococci. And when a chain of cocci is present, they are called as streptococci. Next is rod shape. You can also say them bacilli, rod shape. They are present in rod shape like structure. Third one is spirillum, spiral shaped structure. And fourth one is vibrio, coma shaped structure. So based on the structure of bacteria, they are classified as cocci, bacilli, spirilla, or vibrio. So the bacterial structure is very simple. They are very complex in its behavior. Compared to many other organisms, bacteria as a group show the most extensive metabolic diversity. Some of the bacteria are autotrophic, that is, they can synthesize their own food from inorganic substrate. They may be photosynthetic autotrophic, or they may be chemosynthetic autotrophic. What do you mean by photosynthetic autotrophic? Photosynthetic autotrophic bacteria are those bacteria that can synthesize their own food with the help of sunlight, whereas chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria are those bacteria that can synthesize their own food with the help of certain organic or inorganic chemicals or molecules. The vast majority of bacteria are heterotrophic. What do you mean by heterotrophic? Heterotrophic bacteria are those bacteria that depend on other organisms for their food requirement. Kingdom Monera have been classified into, again, 2 categories: Archaea and Eubacteria. The Archaea are special since they live in some of the most harsh habitats, such as the extreme salty areas. The bacteria that survives in extreme salty areas are defined as halophiles. Halo means salt conditions. So the bacteria that live in extreme salt conditions or salt environments are called as halophiles. Similarly, the bacteria that thrive at higher temperatures are called as thermophiles, and those that can live in higher presence of methane or marshy areas are defined as methanogens. Archaea differ from other bacteria in having a different cell wall structure and this feature is responsible for their survival in extreme conditions. They have a difference in their cell wall structure as compared to the other bacteria, and this difference in their cell wall enables them to survive at extreme conditions. Methanogens are present in the gut of several ruminant animals such as cows and buffaloes, and they are responsible for the production of methane from the dung of these animals. You are already aware of the biogas synthesis. The biogas synthesis requires the cow dung material for, for supplying as an inoculum that contains methanogens for the breakdown of organic material to produce a gas that is called as methane. Now we'll talk about eubacteria. There are thousands of different eubacteria, or generally that are called as true bacteria. They are characterized by the presence of a rigid cell wall. And if they are motile, a presence of flagellum. The cyanobacteria, also referred to as blue-green algae, have a chlorophyll A similar to green plants and are called as photosynthetic autotroph because they have a presence of chlorophyll and they can use the energy of the sunlight to produce their own food. They are called as photosynthetic autotrophs. The cyanobacteria are unicellular, colonial, or filamentous. They may be either freshwater, marine, or terrestrial algae. The colonies are generally surrounded by a gelatinous sheath. They often form blooms in polluted water bodies. You might have observed that you will find, particularly in the monsoon season, when water is remained stagnant for a longer time, a green overcovering occurs around the stagnant water. This is nothing but the photosynthetic algae. Some of these organisms can fix atmospheric nitrogen into a specialized cells which are called as heterocysts. Example of those organisms that can fix atmospheric nitrogen is nostoc and Anabaena. Now we'll talk about chemosynthetic autotroph. Chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria oxidize various inorganic substances such as nitrates, nitrites, and ammonia and use the released energy for their ATP production. Students, you might be aware that ATP is the currency of a cell. To perform any active process or to carry out any metabolic functions, ATP is required by the body. This ATP is synthesized by the mitochondria that is present in a cell. That is why mitochondria is called as the powerhouse of the cell because it generates ATP which is required for powering the various process that occurs in a cell. They play a great role in recycling nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, and sulfur. Next, we'll talk about heterotrophic bacteria. Heterotrophic bacteria are most abundant in nature. The majority are important decomposers. Many of them have a significant impact on human affairs. They are helpful in making curd from milk, production of antibiotics, fixing nitrogen in legume, roots, etc. Some are pathogens causing damage to human beings, crops, farm animals, etc. Cholera, typhoid, tetanus, citrus canker are well-known diseases caused by the different bacteria. But bacteria may also reproduce mainly by fission. Sometimes, under unfavorable conditions, these bacteria results in formation of a spores. Spores are the hard structures that prevent the cell from the external harsh environment. They also reproduce by a sort of sexual reproduction by adopting a primitive type of DNA transfer from one bacterium to the another, and this process is called as conjugation. The process is called as conjugation. Last and not the least, the mycoplasma. The mycoplasma are the organisms that completely lack a cell wall. They do not have a cell wall. They are the smallest living cells known and can survive without oxygen. Many mycoplasmas are pathogenic in animals as well as plants. So this was all about the classification scheme given by R.H. Whitaker and a brief description of kingdom Monera. In the next class, we'll talk about kingdom Protista. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope this video is beneficial to you. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.